Hey guys, we all know the feeling of starting a fresh new game, getting our starter, and heading through Route 1. Now, it doesn't get much better than that. And today, we're going to bottle up that feeling and keep it with us all game, because we're gonna beat Pokemon FireRed only using Pokemon from Route 1. Here's the rules. We can only use Rattata and Pidgey specifically from Route 1. We are limited to a team of 4 and no items in battle, but held items are okay. I have a feeling this might be a grind, so let's go ahead and get started. We start out by picking Charmander so that our rival has Blastoise later on. It's tanky, and I believe it knows Blizzard in the final battle, so this should be the toughest option. After running an errand for Professor Oak and receiving a Pokédex and Pokéballs, we immediately head to Route 1 to catch our team. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll see that I like to use teams of 4, so we're gonna go catch 2 Pidgey and 2 Rattata. And that's gonna be the team. Looking real scary. We kick Charmander out of our life and then level up our team a bit, and now we can head over to fight our rival. And it's not too bad. We outnumber him, so his Pidgey goes down, and then we set up some tail whips on Squirtle, which makes it go down easily. Now we can set our sights on Brock, and I am worried. All of our moves are extremely weak against his Pokemon, and it's not like I have good stats to make up for it. Rattata's Tail Whip and Pidgey's Sand Attack are going to help, but Onix and Rock Tomb is going to be a major problem. Hopefully I don't have to level up too much, but I do beat all of the trainers in Viridian Forest, and I managed to beat the trainer in Brock's gym with my team at level 9. But after losing to Brock at level 9, 10, and 11, we finally get a battle that goes our way. We start off by hitting Geodude with 6 sand attacks, and then we use Gust until Bird 2 gets knocked out. Rattata comes in and finishes off Geodude, and then we get in 3 tail whips on Onix before we go down and bring out Pidgey to hit with some sand attacks. We get a bunch in before getting knocked out, and I send it out Rat 2. We hit 2 more tail whips, and then we quick attack all the way to victory. Shoo! Hey, level 12 isn't too bad. But now we can move on and head through Route 3 towards Mount Moon. And while we're doing that, both our Rattatas learn Hyper Fang, and that is going to help a ton. Now, there's not much to talk about in Mount Moon besides picking up a rare candy and the Helix fossil. And I'm picking up all of the rare candies in this run, so we should have 11 for the Pokemon League, and I have a feeling we might need every last one. Once we arrive in Cerulean, we head over straight to our rival, and actually, he doesn't give us much of a problem at all, and that is a relief. We proceed up the bridge, and there's a hiker up here that has a Geodude, but we're able to take him out and make it over to Bill to get the SS ticket. But now that that's done, it's time to take on Misty. We lose pretty bad at level 18, but we come back and try a few more times at level 19, and we finally get a run where we knock out Staryu without losing any Pokemon, and we get in a Tail Whip and a Sand Attack on Starmie before Rat 2 comes in and finishes it off. This was definitely easier than Brock, so we're moving in the right direction. But now we can head to Vermilion, and on the way we pick up Dig and teach it to Rat 2 to help out with Lieutenant Surge. But before we try for our 3rd badge, we have to board the SS Anne and take on our rival. Rattata starts off strong, knocking out Pidgeotto, its big cousin Raticate, and Kadabra. But then we bring out Bird 2 to hit Wartortle with 6 sand attacks before we faint. And now Rat 2 can come in and finish things up. Another rival battle down, time for Lieutenant Surge. Now since we taught Rat 2 Dig, this battle should be fairly easy. And I'm correct to think that as we take down Surge's entire team using a combination of Dig and Hyper Fang with Rat 2. And now we have 3 gym badges. Now as we head for everyone's favorite part of the game, Rock Tunnel, yes, I'm being sarcastic, we pick up a couple of rare candies I forgot to grab, and then we head through the cave in complete darkness because who needs flash? Unfortunately, we run into a hiker that gets the best of us, causing me to traverse the cave again. But we make up for it by pulling off a dramatic win over the hiker with 2 Geodudes and a Graveler. And finally, we make it out to Lavender Town. The first thing I do is head to Celadon so we can get Fly and teach it to our Pidgeys. Then we take on Erica's gym. First, defeating all of the trainers for some much needed experience, and then Erica herself. We start off with Bird 2 and take down her Victory Bell, but not before getting paralyzed, so we try to use our Rattatas for Tangela, but it proves futile. So we send out Pidgey to finish off Tangela and her Vileplume, earning us our 4th gym badge. Next, we head down beneath the game corner into the Team Rocket hideout and start disposing each and every grunt as we try to find their leader. We finally find the man we've been looking for, Giovanni. We start the battle with Rat 2 and knock out his Onix with a lucky critical hit Dig. Then we get some damage in on Rhyhorn before we faint. We send out Rattata and barely hang on before knocking out Rhyhorn, so we switch to Pidgey and get in 4 sand attacks on Kangaskhan, who nearly takes down the rest of my team. But we're able to finish it off with Bird 2, and that was a bit more difficult than I was expecting. Now that we have the Sylph Scope, we can head to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender. First things first, we gotta take down our rival Thanos. At this point in the game, he's not really living up to his name though, but I have no doubt that he'll make up for it later. We take down his team without any problems, and now we can forget about him and head up the tower to go save Mr. Fuji and get ourselves the Pokeflute. And once all of that is done, we can head south from Lavender towards Fuchsia City, where our next gym battle is. So we go ahead and wake up Snorlax and take off running for our life, continuing to head south, beating trainers and gaining levels. I have a feeling the rest of the game is gonna be pretty tough, so we're gonna need the extra experience where we can get it. After a while, we finally make it to Fuchsia City, which means that it's time to take care of business in the Savari Zone. While we're in there, we pick up Steel Wing, the Gold Teeth, Double Team, and Surf. And once we get out, we return the Gold Teeth to an old man and we receive strength for our trouble. But now we have a problem. We are under-leveled for Koga, like bad. So it's time to grind some levels on the surrounding trainers until our team is at least around 37 to 38. We take down the trainers I skipped earlier to the east of Fuchsia, and then we hop on our bike and start defeating the trainers on Cycling Road. And as I was grinding, I remembered that Rattata can learn Shadow Ball, so I went to the game corner and spent all my money to get it. But now that our team is leveled up a bit, we try to take on Koga and, well, it goes very bad, and it doesn't even feel doable right now. It looks like we still have a lot of leveling up to do, and I get right on it using the VS Seeker on these 3 bird trainers to the west of Fuchsia over and over and over. It's not until my team reaches level 45 that we have a good run against Koga. We start off with Rattata against his first coughing and take it down with 2 Hyper Fangs. And next is Muck, and we take it to half health with Super Fang, but it keeps using Minimize, which is so annoying, but eventually we're able to knock it out. We get a lucky critical hit Hyper Fang to knock out Koga's second Coughing, and now we're on his last Pokemon, Weezing. We miss with Super Fang and down goes Rattata. We use Pidgey and get in a Sand Attack before fainting. Then Bird 2 is able to get 3 more Sand Attacks in before going down. Then Rat 2 comes in and knocks out Weezing with 2 Hyper Fangs. Finally, we take down Koga and earn ourselves the 5th gym badge. And now we can head to Saffron City. First, we stop into the fighting dojo and take on some tough guys using 2 little birds. And we absolutely demolish them. I mean, they should really be embarrassed. Our next stop is the Team Rocket hideout in Silphco. After running around, picking up items, and beating down grunts, we run into an unpleasant yet familiar face, our rival Thanos. We start off with Rattata against his newly evolved Pidgeot, and get in a Super Fang and a Hyper Fang before it takes us down. But Bird 2 comes in and knocks it out with a Quick Attack. Next is Growlithe, and we get a bit overconfident and we end up losing Bird 2 before we're able to take it down. A Quick Attack from Pidgey finishes it off though. We misclick and use Quick Attack instead of Wing Attack on Execute, but we still take it down without taking damage, and now it's time for Alakazam, who goes down to a single Shadow Ball from Rat 2. His last Pokemon is Blastoise, and we switch to Pidgey to get in 2 Sand Attacks before fainting, and Rat 2 is able to come in and hit Blastoise with a Shockwave, critical Hyper Fang, and 1 more Shockwave to knock it out. Man, what a battle. Maybe next time, Thanos. Next up is our second battle against Giovanni. We start off with Rattata against his Nidorino, who goes down from a Dig and a Hyper Fang, but we do get poisoned. Next is Nidoqueen, and we get in a Dig and a Super Fang before going down. We bring out Rat 2 and finish it off with a Hyper Fang, and now out comes Kangaskhan, so we switch to Bird 2 and almost knock it out before we faint. But then we bring in Pidgey and finish it off with Fly. Last is Rhyhorn, so we send out Rat 2, who finishes it off with 2 Ice Beams. And now for our last battle in Saffron, Sabrina. And we win so easily that I almost can't believe it. We one-shotted all of her Pokemon but Mr. Mime, who went down in 2. But alright, 6 badges down, let's head to Cinnabar. Once we get there, we head into the Pokemon Mansion on the search for the secret key. I'm pretty sure Blaine got so scared of my 2 Rattatas and 2 Pidgeys that he locked himself in and us out. But we get the key and head into the gym to get our next gym badge. We start off with Pidgey against Blaine's Growlithe, and we're able to take it down, but not without nearly going down ourselves. We get in a Fly on Ponyta before we faint, and we send out Rattata to finish it off. Next is Rapidash, who goes down to just 2 Hyper Fangs. But now we have to take on our Canine. We Super Fang him down to half health before Rattata gets knocked out, and we get in a Quick Attack with Bird 2 before it gets knocked out. And then Rat 2 misses his Hyper Fang, but luckily our Canine missed as well, so we're able to knock it out and get our 7th gym badge. I go ahead and decide to travel to the islands with Bill because I think we're going to need the extra experience, and plus, I personally enjoy this part of the game. So we finish up the side story and then head to Viridian to take on Giovanni for the 3rd and final time. We start off with Rat 2 against his Rhyhorn, and it takes 2 Ice Beams and a Shadow Ball to take it down because of a Hyper Potion. Next is Nidoqueen, so we switch to Rattata and go for a Super Fang and a Hyper Fang before we get knocked out. We bring in Bird 2 to finish it off, but then Giovanni sends out his second Rhyhorn, so we switch to Rat 2 and knock it out with 2 Ice Beams. Out comes Nidoking, so I send out Bird 2, and we actually win this matchup, and Nidoking goes down. Last is Dugtrio, and we switch to Pidgey and one-shot it with a critical wing attack, and just like that, we've earned all 8 gym badges, but our job is far from over. Next, we have to battle our rival Thanos, but he smacks us like 5 times in a row, so I decide to head over to one island to grind up some levels. Once I get my team to level 54, we head back to Viridian to get our revenge. We start off with Rattata against his Pidgeot, and we're able to take it down with 3 Hyper Fangs and without taking any damage. We switch to Rat 2 for Rhyhorn and knock it out with 2 Ice Beams, and now Growlithe comes out, so we bring in Rattata and use a Dig and a Hyper Fang to finish it off. Out comes Execute, so we send out Bird 2 who takes it down with a Fly and a Wing attack, but not without getting paralyzed. Thanos decides to send in his Alakazam, so we switch to Pidgey and get in a quick attack before fainting just to be sure that one Shadow Ball from Rat 2 will do the trick. But now we gotta take on Blastoise, so we bring out our paralyzed Bird 2 and actually manage to get in 3 sand attacks before going down. Next, we bring in Rattata and do big damage with Super Fang and a Hyper Fang, but we get knocked out, so we bring in Rat 2 and finish off Blastoise with 2 Hyper Fangs. Alright guys, that battle was really tough, and I'm worried about the Elite Four, let alone the champion. I have a feeling that we're gonna need to be a much higher level to even have a chance. So the first order of business is to head through Victory Road and gather up as much experience and levels as we can. Once we get through to the other side, we can do a test run on the Pokemon League just to get an idea of how much I'm gonna have to grind. So we go ahead and take on Lorelei, and it's just not happening. In the simplest of terms, we're taking too much damage and she's taking too little. The only move that's doing any sort of significant damage is Super Fang, and that's a gimmick move. But if we're having this much trouble against Lorelei, imagine how tough Lance and our rival are gonna be. So we're gonna need to level up quite a bit. We do the majority of our leveling up on one island, periodically going back to the Pokemon League to see if we fare any better. We're able to get past Lorelei when we get in the 60s. We were even able to take down Bruno and Agatha, but Lance is just a completely different story. And the champion, I don't even know. So we continue to just grind levels, and we even use all of our rare candies, and we're able to get our team's levels around 70 to 80. And at this point, we finally get a good run on the Pokemon League, and I'm gonna show it from start to finish. First is Lorelei, and we start off with Rat 2 against her Dugong, and take it down with 2 Hyper Fangs. Cloyster comes out next, and between healing and protect, it takes longer to go down than it should. We switch to Bird 2 for Slowbro, and we're actually able to take it down with 3 flies. But now Jinx is out, so we send in Rattata and one-shot it with Double Edge. Last is Lapras, and we keep in Rattata and land a Super Fang and a sacrificial Double Edge, taking out Lapras with me and beating Lorelei. Up next is Bruno, and we start off with Rattata against his Onix and hit it with a Super Fang and a Dig to take it down. We switch to Pidgey and one-shot Hitmonchan, and then two-shot Machamp, and then one-shot Hitmonlee. We switch to Rattata for Onix and use 2 Super Fangs and a Double Edge to finish it off and defeat Bruno. Third is Agatha, and we start off with Rat 2 against her Gengar, who goes down easily to 1 Shadow Ball. Next is Golbat, who falls to 2 Hyper Fangs, and then out comes Arbok, so we switch to Bird 2 to take the Intimidate, and we manage to get in a bit of damage before we get knocked out. Rattata comes in and finishes off Arbok, but she sends out Gengar, so we bring out Rat 2, who nearly gets knocked out but manages to take down the Gengar with 2 Shadow Balls. Her last Pokemon, Haunter, goes down easily to 1 Shadow Ball, and Agatha is done. Now it's time for Lance, and we start off with Rat 2 against his Gyarados and take it down with 2 Hyper Fangs and a Thunderbolt. Aerodactyl comes out next, and we hit it with a Thunderbolt followed by a Blizzard to finish it off. We switch to Rattata for Dragonite and use a Super Fang and a Double Edge to take it down, and now there's only 2 Dragonair left, and they each go down to a single Double Edge, and now it's time for the champion. We start off with Rat 2 against his Pidgeot, and we knock it out with 2 Hyper Fangs while only taking a little bit of damage. Alakazam comes out next, so we switch to Rattata and one-shot it with Double Edge. We send out Pidgey for Executor, and it goes down easily from 2 wing attacks. Next, Thanos sends out Rhydon, and we send in Rat 2, who one-shots it with a critical Blizzard. We switch to Bird 2 against Arcanine to absorb the Intimidate and to hit a Toxic before we go down. We throw in Pidgey, but we get instantly one-shotted, so we bring out Rattata, who finishes the job with a Dig. Now for his last Pokemon, Blastoise. We start off with a Super Fang to cut his health in half, followed by another Super Fang before we faint from a Hydro Pump. But here comes our closer, Rat 2, and all it takes is a single Hyper Fang, and we knock out Blastoise and defeat Thanos. Wow, it feels like I just saved the universe or something. But there it is. We beat Pokemon FireRed with only Route 1 Pokemon. This challenge was pretty tough and very time consuming, but still so much fun. I think we can all agree that Rat 2 was the obvious MVP of the run, and may his name be forever immortalized in the Hall of Fame of challenge runs. But I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe so you never miss out on a video. And for those who made it this far, drop a Rat 2 in the comments because he deserves it. But alright guys, see ya in the next one.